Just imagine this simple, loud demand echoing all across the country. We want a king. Now, you might be wondering, why on earth would the Israelites reject God as their leader? Well, our source material tells us they were basically looking around at all the neighboring nations and they realized something. Those other guys, they had physical kings, real people you could actually see. And the Israelites wanted that too. So God listened. He gave them exactly what they asked for. And boom, the era of human kings officially started. Sounds great, right? Well, hold that thought. To see how this massive shift actually played out, we really just need to look at the first three kings. First up in the timeline, we have King Saul. The people got their king, and Saul started off all right. But that didn't last, mostly because Saul was literally terrible at following directions. Seriously, if God said go up, Saul went down. If God said left, Saul went right. Because of that, God chose the second king, King David. Now, David was a good king who really followed God with his whole heart. Was he perfect? Absolutely not. He made a huge, terrible mistake when he took another man's wife. But the key difference here, David knew he messed up. He was genuinely sorry, and he asked God for forgiveness to make his heart clean again. Then, after David, we get the third king, his son, Solomon. And Solomon? He actually started out super wise. But Solomon definitely didn't stay wise. In fact, he kind of kicked off this massive downward spiral for the entire nation by making some really huge mistakes. First off, he forced the Israelites to build him these totally giant, fancy palaces, just massive building projects. Then, he started marrying women from other countries. Now, the issue wasn't where they were from. The real problem was that these women worshipped other false gods. And you guessed it, pretty soon their influence rubbed off and King Solomon started worshipping those false gods himself, which is obviously a giant red flag. And spoiler alert, it was about to get so much worse. So, how did this turn into a total disaster? Enter Solomon's son, Rehoboam. When Rehoboam became king, he was just incredibly mean to the Israelites. Literally so mean that half the country threw their hands up and said, okay, we are done. We don't want you as our king anymore. So that half went off and picked a completely different guy named Jeroboam. I know, say those 5 times fast. Reboam, Jeroboam, Roboam, Boam. It gets super confusing. But the outcome was absolutely no joke. The tension was so bad, the country literally snapped right in half. The northern half followed Jeroboam, and the southern half stuck with Rehoboam. So now, Israel isn't one united nation anymore. It's 2 completely separate nations. And yeah, neither of them did a great job of following God. Let's zoom in on that northern half for a second, because this downward spiral is crazy. It was basically a rapid-fire succession of just terrible leaders. After Jeroboam, you get Nadab, just as bad. Then Elah, then Zimri. Then they get this king named Omri. Think things got better? Nope. The text actually tells us Omri did more evil than all the kings before him combined. Like, wow. And if that wasn't bad enough, Omri's son Ahab takes the throne next. Ahab married a woman named Jezebel, and she was ruthless. She literally tried to hunt down anyone who was still faithful to God. I mean, it was a complete, total disaster in the north. To really grasp the absolute scale of this disaster, you just need to hear one massive number, 39. Now, you might be sitting there thinking, well, if the North was that awful, the South had to be better, right? Yeah, not really. Between both the northern and southern halves of this totally divided nation, they churned through a grand total of 39 different kings. 39. And out of all of them, almost every single one was bad news. And just to put the massive scale of this problem into perspective, let's look at the timeline. Because this wasn't just, a bad weekend or a rough couple of years. This chaotic run of a split nation and terrible kings dragged on for a staggering 400 years. 400! All these bad kings were a gigantic headache for the people of Israel. But for us today, we can actually learn a ton from their history and all those mistakes. Actually, let's pause for a quick second because I have a question for you. Think about this, and honestly, just shout your answer right out loud wherever you are. Ready? Here's the question. Do bad kings make good decisions, bad decisions, or decisions that just don't affect anybody? I'll give you a second. Did you say bad decisions? If you did, hit the nail right on the head. And that brings us right to our first huge, crystal clear takeaway from this explainer. Bad kings make bad decisions, and bad decisions aren't good for anybody. Seriously, when leaders mess up, when they totally ignore good advice and refuse to do the right thing, it doesn't just impact them. It ripples out and hurts everyone in the entire country. The people of Israel literally felt the pain of those bad leadership decisions for centuries. The craziest part is, this wasn't even a surprise. They knew the rules from the very beginning. Way back in the time of Moses, long before they ever started begging for a human king, God made a promise. He promised he would protect Israel from their enemies. But there was one simple condition. They had to follow his ways. It wasn't about just doing whatever they wanted or worshiping random other gods. It was super straightforward. Follow God's ways, get God's protection. Which also meant if Israel stopped following God, they'd lose that protection. And that exact dynamic led them straight into what we like to call the crazy cycle. Just like they did in the early days, the Israelites kept falling into this absolutely silly, repetitive trap. Step 1, they turn away from God. Step 2, they lose God's protection, so their enemies attack. They look around like, oh no, where did these guys come from? And then step 3, they cry out to God for help. Over and over and over again. It's like they just could not learn from their own history. Because they kept spinning on this crazy cycle for 400 years, the situations they found themselves in just got bigger and scarier. After all that time, Israel was totally surrounded by enemies on every single side. And these weren't just tiny neighboring kingdoms anymore. Oh no, they had grown into massive empires. Now, if you're wondering what an empire is, it's basically a whole bunch of kingdoms and tons of people all swallowed up and ruled by just one mega king. These huge, intimidating empires were now knocking right on Israel's door, entirely because Israel kept turning away. Okay, I know, that was a whole lot of really bad news. We're talking bad kings, bad decisions, split nations, and giant scary empires. But hey, I want to give you all a big virtual hug right now, because there is actually incredible good news here. God never abandoned his people. Even though Israel completely turned their backs on him so many times, God's love was totally unconditional. He never ever turned away from them. The Israelites definitely had a bad habit of learning their lessons the hard way. But in the end, everything they went through, all the chaos, the split nation, the terrible kings, it all pointed them right back to their faithful God. And that leaves us with a really awesome, thought-provoking question to wrap up our explainer today. When you mess up, and when you have to learn a lesson the hard way, will you remember that God is always faithful? Because the truth is, even our absolute worst mistakes can point us right back to a God who never gives up on us. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today, and keep on learning.